Hi, Justin here from petcoach.com.au. Today we're going to be talking about some leash skills for the humans, not necessarily for the dogs. When I was a kid, I learnt how to play tennis. And the first thing that I learnt when I learnt how to play tennis was how to hold onto the tennis racket. That's the first thing our coach did. They spent quite a bit of time on putting the tennis racket in our hands, showing us how to hold onto the tennis racket appropriately with one or both hands. I often see when people are learning how to train their dog that they don't get shown a way to hold the lead. So often what I see when people are working with me, or when I see people walking their dogs down the street, is I see people holding onto the lead like this. And then if they feel like they need more power or control over the dog, the next thing I see is people doing this. Now, if you've ever walked a big dog or a horse or ever been fishing, you know that the worst thing you can do is wrap the lead around your fingers. What that's going to do is put a lot of pressure around those fingers, and if your dog goes out for a run, they're going to put a lot of pressure on those fingers, and if you've got a 60-70 kilo dog, you've got a high potential of breaking some fingers there. So what I would like you to do is not wrap the lead around your fingers. We're going to have a look at some other options. The first option that we're going to have a look at is what I call the treat store. So for this one is good for when you're using your treat pouch when you're doing your training. First of all, you take the loop of the lead, you place your hand all the way through that, wrap your hand around there. Now, as you can see, I've got my fingers just nicely placed along there, and the lead is just nice and taut around the back of my hand there. Now, the couple of advantages of this way of carrying your lead is that if you're using treats in your walking training, good girl, I've got my dog Indy sitting beside me, and she's sat beautifully, so I'm going to give her a little treat. Now what this means is that you can have your treat pouch, which is just out of shot there, with your stash of treats, and then you can have a little store of treats in your hands here as you're walking. So as you're walking your dog by your side there, you can take a treat out and give your dog their reward nice and easy from there. So that's one of the advantages of this. The other advantage is that if the dog pulls and you need to rely on more than just your finger strength, you can open your hand up. Now what that does is when you open your hand up, it works like a bit of a brake here. So you've got nice and strong grip on the dog there. Now in case of emergency, if you need to let go in a hurry, all you need to do is close your fingers up and then the dog will go wherever it's going and you get to stay nice and safe. So for that one, take your hand all the way through the loop, open your hand up, wrap around the lead, and nice and softly in between your thumb and forefinger there. Then if you're using treats in your training, you can place those treats in your hand and deliver those nice and easy to your dog by your side. The next version we're going to have a look at gives you a little bit more strength and control on the lead. So for this one, it feels a little bit weird, but what we're going to do is take the loop of the lead, place our thumb all the way there, and make sure that the strands of the handle are running down alongside our hands here. Then what we do is wrap our fingers across that lead like that, then lay our thumb down over the top there. Now this looks quite weak, but if you pull on that, it's actually really quite strong there. So this gives us a nice, strong, firm grip on the lead. Now it is quite hard to use the treat store idea and to place treats in that hand because you need those fingers closed up for this method. Now a couple of errors that I see people doing when they're using this method is they try to use their thumb strength to walk the dog. Now no one's thumb is going to be that strong, so what makes this method nice and strong is closing that thumb up there and giving it a lot of pressure in there, and it helps close it up. The other thing you can do if you need to shorten the lead a little bit more is instead of wrapping it around your hand, you can use a pistol grip like this, wrap the lead around that finger there, and then close the other fingers back around. So now I've got a little bit of a pulley system. I can shorten the lead like this if I need to, or I can lengthen the lead like that by just releasing that finger and making it easier for those leads to pass through there. Now if I need extra strength in that, I can use my second hand to control that lead and to have a little bit more strength on there as well. So if you need a little bit more strength and control, what I recommend is going back to practicing your leash skills, but if you need strength and control in the situation, thumb goes through there, wrap the fingers around, thumb flat down, pull it nice and taut to make sure you're locked in. If you need to shorten it up, little pistol grip with your fingers, lead goes over the top there, and then it's all nice and secure. That way if you need to shorten it or lengthen the lead, it's nice and easy to do. Another thing that we're going to have a look at when we're talking about leash skills is our posture and our hand position. Now, if you've got a small breed dog, It doesn't take much to pull over a large human. So I've often seen very small dogs, very big people, and people are getting dragged around. Almost all the time when I see that, I see the human holding onto the lead like this and their arm fully extended out that way. Now if my arm is fully extended, I don't have much control over my leverage. Whatever is out the end of my hand there is going to make it easier for my body to get pulled over. So the first thing I want to do is choose one of these two styles of leash holding as we talked about. Either the hand all the way through and hold on, or the little thumb grip there. And then the next thing I want to do is bring that hand in nice and close to my body, nice and close to my hips. My hips are where my body is the most strong. So I don't want to have my arms extended out like this, relying on my arm strength. I want to keep my hands nice and close to my body in here. The next thing I want to do, you can't really see this on camera, but I want to spread my stance out. I don't want to have my 2 feet standing next to each other like this. I want to pick 1 foot to take forward and 1 foot to have back, almost like I'm standing in a box or I'm in a bit of a boxing stance. This means that I've got a bit more movement back and forward and sideways if I need it when I have my dog on lead. Now if my dog's a notorious puller, what I would recommend, again, go back to working on your leash skills, but if you are out in the world and you do have a pulling dog, what we want to do is have a nice strong grip on that lead, get our hands in nice and close to our hips. I often will hold on to my belt just to give me a bit more strength there. Spread those legs in a nice boxing stance, and that will give you a lot more strength and support. So we have a look at how we hold onto the lead, either the treat store method like this, or the thumb pistol grip like this, and then we make sure our hands are nice and close to our body, preferably down along our hips, grabbing onto your belt if you need to, and then we will look at some other lead skills with our dogs. So when we're walking our dog, I often ask people whether they want their dog on their left-hand side or their right-hand side. I personally don't have any preference. I like my dog to learn to work on my left as well as on my right. A lot of people will prefer their dogs on their left, and that's perfectly fine. So if my dog's working on my left, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my lead on my right hand, and then I'm going to work with my dog on the left hand side. The reason why I do this is I want to be able to use that food delivery, if I'm using food rewards, nice and close to my dog. So she's sitting right there, and that's going to make it nice and easy for her to get the reward at the right spot. If I've got my dog on my left hand side and I'm using my rewards from my right hand, as I deliver that reward, it's very likely that she's going to cross out in front of me there. You see my right hand is down by my right hand side there, and that will be where my dog will be when I'm delivering that food reward. However, if I want them on my left hand side, the treats can come out of my pouch right here, and I can reward my dog straight to my left hand side there. This is going to make sure that her nose is nice and straight, and then she's in a nice heel position there as well. So there we have some nice leash handling skills for our humans. In another video we'll have a look at some walking skills for our dogs, looking at some pre-walking behaviours and also some walking behaviours. So if you have any questions, please send them through to help@petcoach.com.au. Have a great day. Thanks.